Tonight, a new midwifery-led care service begins in Whyalla, and police uncovered drugs, weapons and gel blasters in a raid at Solomon Town.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. Pregnant women living in the region can now expect a new model of care when delivering their babies at the Whyalla Hospital. The initiative aiming to ensure mums are supported and cared for by the same midwife throughout their entire pregnancy.
Cradling these 2 newborn babies, little Angus and Oakland, both only 1 day old. For the Whyalla Hospital midwives, cuddling babies is just one of the many perks of the job.
I love babies, but I'm passionate about midwifery and about women's health.
Expecting parents will now be assigned 1 midwife throughout the entire pregnancy under a new initiative. A first for Whyalla, the program is already implemented in other South Australian hospitals with many proven benefits.
It lessens caesarean section rates, improves breastfeeding rates, lessens postnatal depression.
These long-standing midwives and mothers themselves say they're pleased with the new practice.
We're really excited about this change. We know that it will provide better care to our families in the community.
Being pregnant and having a baby is not a sickness, it's a well model. So we really want to empower the women to have choices and be a part of that.
12 midwives will be supporting patients at this hospital throughout their maternity care, allowing each midwife to develop a stronger and more trusting relationship with mum and baby.
Our Regional Director of Nursing applied for some funding back in July last year and we were successful. So it's a pilot for 6 months and then if it's successful from there we'll keep going.
Sophia Contigonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta residents are being encouraged to have their say on a draft regional public health plan. City Council says the initiative aims to improve the well-being and health of all community members.
A step towards living in a healthier city. Port Augusta City Council releasing its 5-year regional public health plan for consultation.
The document's been extensively researched and working with various groups, including SA Health. And it's very important that we receive good advice and community feedback in respect to the plan.
It's hoped the plan will guide council's decision-making and relationships with key stakeholders in the region to allow healthier living and better well-being for residents.
It includes things like access, disability access, access to parks and gardens, immunisation programs, wastewater treatment, basically a range of council services, but very much putting a public health lens over those services.
The member for Stewart saying it's a positive step for council and locals.
And council can really make a big difference in that area. Council is broadly in charge of the open spaces and a lot of the very local programs.
City Council now calling on the community to have their say with feedback submissions encouraged.
Consultation's open until the 16th of April and as I said, we very welcome all submissions.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A 51-year-old Port Pirie man has been arrested after drugs and weapons were seized at his Solomon Town home. Just before 2 on Wednesday, patrols raided the Wilkins Street house. Police say they found 3 cannabis plants, 2 unregistered gel blasters, methamphetamine and prohibited knives. The man was charged with a raft of offences, including trafficking a controlled drug, and will appear in court at a later date. T-Ports has formed an agreement with the Barngala people, making them shareholders in the Lucky Bay Port. T-Ports Chief Executive Officer saying the organisation is deeply honoured to make the partnership after several years in the making. As part of the agreement, T-Ports will look to develop a Barngala Ranger program, support scholarships for students and provide job opportunities. Still to come tonight, a new hub opens for Aboriginal survivors of family and sexual violence. And the first students to attend CUC Far West graduate. Welcome back. The Human Services Minister visited Port Augusta today for the official opening of the KWY Safety Hub, the facility aiming to provide a safe space for Aboriginal women experiencing family, domestic and sexual violence.
A safe space for women escaping violence.
For us as an organisation, of course, in this sad and current climate with domestic and sexual violence, on the rise. I think it's a very important place for the community and the Aboriginal women to have a safe space to come and meet.
Today marking the official opening of the KWY Safety Hub in Port Augusta. It's the fourth facility to be opened in South Australia, providing a culturally safe environment and support programs for Aboriginal women experiencing domestic, family or sexual violence.
Looks after women and children, and importantly also offers some important programs for men as well. Is a wonderful initiative.
The Human Services Minister making a special visit to the region, saying it's a welcome service for the community.
And with this hub too, we've done something that we haven't done before, which is provide a van, so that makes the access for people who might not be able to make it in through their own means, just make it that much more accessible.
The facility is open weekdays from 9 to 5 for those in need of support.
There are some people in the community who don't actually even know that what they're experiencing is domestic and family violence. It really means that people can take some time out just to talk through what's going on in their lives.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Members of South Australia's Law Reform Institute have touched down in the region to speak with community members. Their aim to study the value of communication in the court system.
Fighting for justice, this group of academics are investigating better communication in courts for those who need it most.
The purpose of a communication partner is to assist people in court, whether it be a victim, a witness or a defendant, to understand the process and to give their best evidence.
The lawyers coming to hear real stories from those who have struggled in an often confusing court system.
Indicating to us that he understood fully what was going on when clearly that was not the case. He was nodding and saying yes, when in actual fact he was simply indicating that he was understanding that we were talking to him. That's very different to understanding what it is that you're now implicated in.
Elderly person with cognitive impairment who's been the victim of financial abuse. How does that person seek redress for the money that's been defrauded from them?
They say the issue is important to address in regional communities.
Indigenous communities in particular, and those in remote rural areas, because again, access to justice is already an issue for them.
They'll be presenting their findings to South Australia's Attorney General.
The best model, and then hopefully from that we are able to create a scheme that will be taken up and will be beneficial to the community.
Justice should be available for all. It should not depend on where you live.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
CUC Far West is holding its first graduation ceremony tonight. It's a chance for students to celebrate their achievements with family and friends, breaking down the barriers that come with online education.
A collaborative space for those studying in the bush. 32 students using CUC's study space and resources while completing their degrees during the past 12 months.
On days off or at 9 o'clock at night when I'm cramming that last assignment, which I'm guilty for, I come to CUC and do that.
Georgina Seaward completing her Bachelor of Natural Science by correspondence, but tonight she'll be able to take part in a graduation ceremony.
We've got one student who has actually completed 3 university degrees and a postgraduate and has never been able to graduate because she's done it via distance.
The centre helping students celebrate their success no matter where their uni is based.
And I still don't know whether I can go to a graduation ceremony at Hawkesbury, so just to be able to go, wear the cap and gown, that's been the goal since starting the degree.
And during the COVID lockdown and border closures, managers say there's been an increase in those needing to study locally.
A lot of those people have been forced home, and it's provided them a place to be able to continue successfully through their studies.
Showing studying from home doesn't mean studying alone.
They give you that little bit of motivation to get that last bit of the assignment done, so it's been amazing.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Westpac Port Augusta is one of 48 branches shutting down and merging, part of the reduction to its organisation's national network. Westpac Group today notifying the Finance Sector Union of the closures involving Westpac, St George, Bank SA and Bank of Melbourne. It's understood the Port Augusta branch will be co-locating to Bank SA Port Augusta. Stay with us after the break. Lucky Port Lincoln locals spot some playful sea creatures along the foreshore. And teenagers showcase their Adelaide Fringe performance in Whyalla. Hello again. 2 unsuspecting swimmers in Port Lincoln have captured a special close encounter on camera. A pod of dolphins joined them for their morning swim, with the creatures putting on a show for the pair at Boston Bay.
Out of the shadowy depths of Boston Bay, a magical moment. A pod of dolphins appear, joining swimmers out on their morning dip.
They came in for a kiss, good morning kiss, and then went on with their business for the day.
Andrea and Michelle were swimming laps in Port Lincoln swimming enclosure yesterday morning when they spotted the curious creatures.
I grabbed my new GoPro and jumped in with them, and they came over to say hello, which was just beautiful.
The playful pod putting on a show for swimmers while sussing out their surroundings.
Have them come round, you know, it just felt like I don't know, I haven't got any words for it. It was pretty cool.
Locals say they often see dolphins in the bay, but never this close to shore or swimmers.
We were just like really gobsmacked when we saw them swim up around Andrea because couldn't believe how close they were.
And it wasn't the only sea life Andrea captured on camera.
There's baby seahorses, there's the jellyfish that we report on to other swimmers, there's sea stars.
While this camouflaged octopus was spotted hiding around the Greenley Beach rock pools yesterday, gliding through the water. The dolphins have already returned, forming a very special underwater friendship.
It was just very cool.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
It's worthy of a blockbuster film. An Australian politician shot dead at a train station in the South Australian bush. But it's the true story of Percy Brookfield, and now his final days will be recreated to mark 100 years since his death.
A newspaper headline from 1912 giving a glimpse into the final moments of Percy Brookfield's life. One of Broken Hill's most prominent figures, the union leader turned politician, shot and killed at Riverton.
Honestly, I do not know why a movie has not been made of that. It's a incredible story.
It was March 22, 100 years ago, when Brookfield was murdered, trying to disarm a gunman firing at a passenger train. His final 72 hours to be recreated tomorrow night.
His departure here, the attack and the arrival of his coffin.
The Sulphide Street Railway and Historical Museum hosting the event, aiming to keep the story true to form.
We are sitting in one of the carriages of the Adelaide Express, and it's very likely that Percy may have even sat in this seat that I'm in now.
Tomorrow's event will be the latest to recognise the centenary of Brookfield's passing, with other memorials held during the week. A plaque unveiled at his final resting place yesterday, describing his life as great and courageous. A life still remembered a century on.
It's just our way of acknowledging the man that was a great supporter of the working man and woman.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A group of young local actors are fulfilling their dreams, performing in this year's Unearth Festival. Kicking off the first lot of shows in Whyalla, the students are calling it a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
These young aspiring actors following their dreams.
Well, I have 3 roles actually, well, sort of 4. I am playing a boy in a bunker where he's got a console and he's been trapped there for I think a month or so.
Director and acting teacher to the budding talents says she's proud of how much they've grown over the year.
They're very talented young cast, really, really good. They've taken everything I've thrown at them and just been amazing.
The group performing the first 2 of 4 acts last night, with the show suiting its name, Meltdown.
It's an anthology of stories about potential things that could happen if society were to break down and there was an end to the world as we know it. So it's really about human relationships.
Also taking the performance to the Adelaide Fringe, it was an experience the students say they will never forget.
It went really well in Adelaide. We had a really good reception at Fringe. We sold out a few of our shows. We had a reviewer in, so that was very exciting.
The stars in the making taking advantage of the opportunity, helping build their acting careers.
I've learned how to cry on cue. I've learnt a lot more about drama and acting and setting up spaces.
Sophia Contagonos, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta residents are invited to celebrate a special milestone this weekend, with the Ryan Mitchell Swim Centre turning 50. The centre was gifted to council following the closure of the power station in the 1980s. A community pool party will be held this Sunday, featuring a jumping castle, sausage sizzle and birthday cake cutting. Stay with us after the break. Thousands prepare to flock to the Streaky Bay Cup this weekend, and we'll have the weather details with Alex. Welcome back. Organisers are finalising preparations ahead of tomorrow's Streaky Bay Cup, with more than 1,000 racegoers expected to flock trackside. The race day was meant to coincide with the unveiling of the Karen McAvoy statue, which has now been postponed.
With forecasted blue skies and sunny weather, it's set to be a roaring Cup day.
Everyone sort of gets excited about the races.
Hundreds expected to flock trackside for the Streaky Bay Cup tomorrow, a day of fashion, punting and racing. But one noticeable absence will be the statue unveiling of Streaky Bay's hometown hero.
Our timeline got blown out for that because of the restrictions of going to Melbourne at the time to get it, and even Kieran coming to do the finalisation of the sculpture.
The life-size statue of three-time Melbourne Cup winner and local jockey Karen McAvoy was meant to be unveiled tomorrow, but COVID has now postponed the event till later this year.
From what I can gather, it's possible to be around Christmas, which would be marvellous.
The man himself flying to Port Lincoln last month to have a final inspection of his lookalike before it's sent off to Melbourne for casting.
He was very happy with it. He did pick up a few little things that I can tweak now. That they're minor things, but they're important also, and he has a great eye for detail.
Race day organisers say it won't dampen any spirits, with the community eager to hit the track for the first time in 2 years.
It's a very important time for the community to get together.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
While most areas have finished up their cricket season, Port Lincoln is gearing up to host grand final matches over the weekend. Here is the city's expert with his tips.
Welcome to this week's Port Lincoln Cricket Tips. Firstly, a few congratulations. Congratulations to Dylan Coleman, Dylan Dunn and Bodie Fowler being the MVPs. On to the big games this weekend. B-grade Charlton vs Tasman at Poole Oval, 12:30 start. I'm not going to pick against Tasmans, but this is going to be a great game. And in the A-grade, this is an absolute cracker. 5 years in a row, these two teams will go head-to-head in the grand final. Southern Air vs Tasmans. Again, not picking against my boys Tasmans. Get down here to Centenary Oval. If you can't, the game's going to be live streamed on Frogbox through Facebook, so head over to the Port Lincoln Facebook page and follow the link there to catch all the action. Thanks for listening to the Port Lincoln Cricket Tips.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, Ruby, and good evening. From 3 p.m, Port Lincoln got to a high of 26, partly cloudy in Kadina, 25 there, and Clare reached 21 degrees. Looking further out across the region, Port Augusta and Whyalla both a shower to a max of 24. Broken Hill, partly cloudy, 22. Similar conditions in Woodner, 26. Kadina and Cleve, both 25 and partly cloudy also. Clare, partly cloudy and 21. Showers and a possible storm in Cooper Pedy, 23. And Adelaide had showers and reached 21. Taking a look at the satellite image now, cloud over the northeast is with a trough bringing patchy rain and storms contracting eastwards. Onshore westerly winds behind the trough and near an approaching weak front are bringing a few showers to southeast and central coasts. Clear over the west with a strengthening high. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Variable winds 10 knots becoming northwesterly, 10 to 15 knots in the morning before then tending south to southwesterly reaching 15 to 20 knots. Seas around 1 metre and south to southwesterly swell around 1 to 1.5 metres. Taking a look at the weekend's temperatures now, Port Lincoln will reach a high of 23 on Saturday, Cleve 22, Woodner 24, Whyalla partly cloudy 23, mostly sunny in Port Augusta 26, Kadina a possible morning shower, also 23 degrees. Port Pirie partly cloudy 25 degrees, partly cloudy and 21 in Clare, and Broken Hill mostly sunny 25 degrees. Clearing up slightly on Sunday, sunny in the far north, north and east of the region. Cooper Pedy set to have the region's top of 28, Port Augusta 26, partly cloudy across the rest of the region with temperatures in the mid-20s. Looking further into the start of next week now, and sunny conditions across the Gulf on Monday, except for in Port Lincoln where it'll be partly cloudy in 24. Cooper Pedy and Port Augusta will have the region's tops of 29, a degree cooler in Port Pirie 28, And if you're heading to Adelaide, 25 and sunny there. And Tuesday is said to be a sunny autumn day. Port Augusta and Woodner will both have the region's tops of 31, Port Pirie 30 degrees, Whyalla, Kadina and Adelaide 28. So certainly looking to be a mild but beautiful weekend of weather, Ruby, with that to continue through to next week. That's all from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Lovely, thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Friday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening and have a lovely weekend. Good night.